talking to her. Nothing dramatic is happening. No flirting, no obvious signals, no movie scene energy. But then you notice something strange. You say something small, almost forgettable, and somehow she remembers it 3 weeks later. The coffee order you mentioned once. The story about your brother. That random goal you said you were working toward at 1 a.m. when the conversation should have ended an hour earlier. And suddenly you start wondering, wait, why does she remember that? Am I reading too much into this? Does she actually like me? Or am I just hoping she does? Here's the truth most men completely miss. A woman who is secretly attracted to you doesn't always become louder. She becomes more attentive. Because attraction is not just chemistry. It's emotional focus. When someone's nervous system becomes emotionally invested in you, their attention naturally locks onto the details beneath the surface. Not because they're trying to impress you, because your presence has started to matter to them emotionally. And bro, this is important. You are not bad at reading women because you missed the obvious flirting signs. Most attraction doesn't begin as obvious. It begins as curiosity, attention, emotional presence. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand the one sign that quietly reveals genuine attraction, why most men overlook it completely, and how to recognize the difference between politeness and real emotional interest. Let's get into it. Most people believe attraction is about confidence, teasing, eye contact, or perfect flirting. But the real truth is this. Attraction changes attention before it changes behavior. That's the part nobody explains. A woman can be shy and still deeply attracted to you. She can act casual and still think about you constantly afterward. She can even pull back sometimes while emotionally moving closer internally. Because when someone likes you, their nervous system starts prioritizing you beneath the surface. Your words land differently. Your moods register more deeply. Your presence becomes emotionally charged. And this is why so many men misread attraction. Most men are looking for performance, but real attraction usually shows up as investment. Not louder texting, not dramatic flirting, not forced compliments, but emotional attentiveness that keeps showing up consistently over time. Because here's what happens psychologically. When a woman feels drawn to you emotionally, her brain starts creating mental save points around you. Small moments become meaningful. Tiny details become emotionally sticky. That's why she remembers things other people instantly forget. And honestly, this connects directly to attachment and emotional bonding. Humans pay attention to what feels emotionally significant, always. Attention is never random, which means the clearest sign of attraction is not how loudly she performs interest. It's how naturally she keeps turning toward you, mentally and emotionally, without even realizing she's doing it. And once you understand that, everything starts making more sense. 1. She remembers the small things. Here's the part no one talks about. The strongest sign of attraction is rarely intensity. It's consistency of attention. Most couples, and honestly most people in relationships, think attraction is about big gestures or obvious flirting. But real emotional interest usually reveals itself through tiny moments someone unconsciously holds onto. Because when she's attracted to you, her nervous system starts tagging details about you as emotionally important. Not logically important. Emotionally important. That changes everything. You casually mention wanting to start a business someday. 3 weeks later, she asks, "So, are you still thinking about that idea you told me about?" And suddenly, your brain goes, "Wait, she remembered that?" Exactly. Because most people forget information that doesn't emotionally matter to them. But attraction creates attention. Attention creates memory. And memory creates emotional investment. Here's the difference. Disconnected version. You say, "Yeah, work's been stressful lately." She responds, "Dang, that sucks." Connected version. A week later, she says, "You sounded exhausted the other night. Is work getting any better?" That's different. That's not surface-level conversation anymore. That's emotional tracking. And when you experience that, something inside you starts to soften naturally, because you feel seen without needing to perform for it. 2. She finds reasons to continue the interaction. And this is the one most men never figure out. A woman who's attracted to you rarely wants the interaction to end cleanly. Most people assume attraction always looks bold, but beneath the surface, attraction often looks like extension, keeping the emotional thread alive just a little longer. Because emotionally available people move toward connection instinctively, not aggressively, not perfectly, but consistently. She sends the extra meme, asks the follow-up question, brings up something random just to restart the conversation. And here's what changes everything. She's not continuing the conversation because she has nothing else to do. She's continuing it because interacting with you creates emotional stimulation her nervous system enjoys returning to. That matters. You say, "All right, I should probably sleep." Most people stop there. But she says, "Wait, one more thing." Or, "Okay, but before you go." Or she sends another voice note anyway. Her brain is quietly saying, "I'm not done feeling connected to you yet." That's attraction. Not chasing, not games, not manipulation. Just someone unconsciously reaching for more presence because being around you feels good to them emotionally. And when that starts happening repeatedly, the connection stops feeling forced and starts feeling real. 3. She reacts differently to your attention. This is where it gets really interesting. A woman who's secretly attracted to you doesn't just notice your attention. She feels it. Most people in relationships miss this completely because they focus only on words. But attraction lives in emotional sensitivity long before it lives in labels or commitment. When someone likes you, your attention carries extra emotional weight to them. Your compliments hit harder. Your silence feels louder. Your approval matters more than they want it to. Because attraction creates emotional exposure. Suddenly, your opinion feels dangerous, meaningful, real. That's why she may seem slightly nervous around you sometimes, even if she's confident around everyone else. Her nervous system is registering, "This person matters to me." Here's the contrast. Disconnected version. You compliment her outfit. She says, "Thanks." Connected version. You compliment her outfit and suddenly she lights up differently. Her posture changes. Her energy softens. She brings it up later again casually, like, "You really like that outfit?" Because beneath the surface, her inner world is saying, "He noticed me." And bro, people don't emotionally replay moments that don't matter to them. That's the shift that turns ordinary interaction into emotional tension you can actually feel in the room. 4. She becomes curious about who you really are. Not louder conversations, not fake chemistry, not endless flirting, but genuine curiosity. That's the sign. Most couples stay stuck in surface-level interaction forever because they communicate facts instead of discovering each other emotionally. But attraction creates curiosity naturally. She wants to know how you think, what shaped you, why you react the way you do. Because emotional attraction is not just wanting access to your time, it's wanting access to your inner world. And here's what nobody explains. Questions become deeper when feelings become real. Not interview questions, not forced vulnerability, but emotionally revealing curiosity. Instead of, "What music do you listen to?" she asks, "What's something you've never really gotten over?" That's different. Or she notices something subtle and says, "You act confident, but honestly, sometimes I feel like you overthink everything." Now she's reading beneath the surface. That means she's emotionally engaged enough to study your patterns instead of just consuming your appearance. And when someone starts wanting to understand you instead of merely impress you, the walls between two people begin coming down quietly without either of them forcing it. 5. She creates small moments of emotional safety. Here's the part men often underestimate. Attraction is not only excitement, it's comfort. Most people think chemistry is about butterflies and tension, but long-term emotional bonding depends far more on nervous system safety than adrenaline. A woman who's genuinely attracted to you wants you emotionally open around her. Not performative, not guarded. Real. So she creates tiny moments where you feel accepted instead of evaluated. You tell her something embarrassing. She doesn't weaponize it. You admit insecurity. She doesn't lose respect for you. You speak honestly. And instead of withdrawing, she leans in closer emotionally. Because beneath the surface, something in her is saying, I want this person to feel safe with me. And man, that changes a relationship completely. Here's the contrast. Disconnected version. You admit you've been stressed and overwhelmed lately. She responds with advice immediately. Connected version. She says softly, that sounds like a lot to carry by yourself. That response matters because your nervous system feels received instead of managed, like taking armor off for a second without getting attacked for it. And that's when connection stops feeling like performance and starts feeling like refuge. 6. She notices changes in your energy immediately. And this is where attraction becomes impossible to fake. Most people notice behavior. Someone emotionally invested notices energy. Because when a woman is attracted to you, she becomes emotionally attuned to shifts beneath the surface. Your mood changes slightly. She feels it immediately. You text differently. She notices. You seem distant for one conversation. She asks if you're okay, even when everyone else thinks you seem normal. Why? Because emotionally invested people subconsciously monitor the emotional state of those they care about. Their nervous system stays tuned into the connection, almost like background music constantly playing beneath daily life. It's subtle, but powerful. You say, I'm fine. Most people accept it. But she says, no, you're not. What happened? That line hits differently because it reveals emotional attentiveness deeper than surface interaction. Her inner voice is quietly saying, your emotional state matters to me. And honestly, that's one of the purest forms of attraction there is. Not obsession, not dependency, not games. Presence. That's the shift that makes someone stop feeling invisible in their own life. 7. She tries to impress you without making it obvious. This isn't always conscious. That's why it's so revealing. Most people think attraction always looks seductive or dramatic, but genuine attraction often appears as subtle self-awareness around someone whose opinion emotionally matters. She suddenly cares a little more about how she sounds around you, how she looks, how you perceive her stories. Not because she's fake, because she wants to be seen positively by someone she feels emotionally drawn toward. And here's what changes everything. When attraction is real, effort becomes natural instead of strategic. She sends the better photo, laughs slightly harder at your jokes, mentions achievements casually she normally wouldn't bring up. Not manipulation, not performance, human nature. Her brain is quietly asking, do you see me the way I hope you do? That vulnerability sits beneath almost all attraction, honestly. Because at the core of romantic interest is the desire to be emotionally chosen. And when you recognize that, you stop seeing attraction as a game to win and start seeing it as two nervous systems slowly moving toward each other beneath the surface. 8. She finds ways to be around you. Here's the thing. People move toward what feels emotionally good. Always. Most couples ignore this because they overcomplicate attraction. But when someone genuinely likes you, proximity starts happening naturally. She joins conversations you're in, finds reasons to text, shows up where interaction becomes possible. Not in a forced way, not in a desperate way, but consistently enough that eventually you realize, this cannot be accidental anymore. And no, this doesn't mean she has no life. It means connection creates emotional gravity, like your nervous system becoming a place her mind instinctively revisits throughout the day. You post something random. She responds quickly. You mention being somewhere. Suddenly, she's interested too. You leave a room. Later, she somehow ends up near you again. Because attraction creates orientation. Her attention keeps turning toward you almost automatically. And when someone repeatedly chooses closeness without needing a reason for it, that's when emotional interest becomes impossible to ignore. 9. She makes you feel emotionally seen. And this is the one sign beneath all the others. The real sign. A woman secretly attracted to you makes you feel emotionally recognized in a way most people never do. Not just admired. Not just desired. Seen. Most people interact with the version of you that performs well socially, but someone emotionally drawn to you starts noticing the parts beneath the surface you rarely show anyone. The tiredness behind your humor. The softness beneath your confidence. The longing beneath your independence. And here's what nobody explains. Real attraction creates emotional presence powerful enough to make another person feel less alone inside themselves. That's why these connections feel so different. You say something small, and somehow she understands what you meant emotionally, not just literally. You joke about being busy. She says, "You've been carrying a lot lately, haven't you?" And suddenly something inside you pauses because her words reach the part of you nobody else notices. Her inner world is quietly saying, "I want to understand the real you." Bro, that's rare. Because the deepest form of attraction is not wanting attention from someone. It's wanting truth with them. And that's the shift that turns chemistry into something that actually feels emotionally real. This isn't a checklist. It's awareness. Because once you understand attraction at this level, you stop obsessing over mixed signals and start paying attention to emotional investment, consistency, and presence beneath the surface. You stop chasing performances and start recognizing genuine connection. That changes the kind of relationships you build completely. Because this isn't about becoming better at getting women. It's about becoming emotionally aware enough to recognize when someone is truly turning toward you in a real way. And when you internalize that, you stop forcing chemistry and start noticing the quiet moments where real intimacy is already trying to grow. Because real attraction isn't loud. It's attention.